أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. Verse 278 Surah Baqarah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين. O you who have faith, be wary of Allah and abandon all claims to what remains of usury should you be faithful. Now this verse indicates that despite previous legislations against riba and usury, still some of the believers in Medina were exacting usury and were disregarding the commands of the Qu'ran, and that is why the verse says, fear Allah and abandon the claim on what is left from usury. Apparently, what we understand from the narrations, because before these very strict legislations, some of the believers had money given to given to you loan with usury, and they wanted them back because the time for it had come, and they could not actually abandon it, they could not leave it, and they wanted it back, and therefore the ayah is very warning, with a very strong warning, says that ittaqullah, fear God and abandon what is left from riba. They may have justified that, okay, we had done this before, the time has now come, what about those loans that we gave before the legislation? Should we get the riba for that or not? So the verse is actually negating that. The narrations actually support this view. It is reported that from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam about the occasion of revelation of this verse, that Walid ibn al-Mughayra, Walid ibn al-Mughayra was the very respectable pagan among the mushrikun, and one of whom defied the Prophet up to the very end of his life. But his son Khalid ibn Walid had actually converted to Islam, and that was after year 8, something like that. And this shows this verse has been revealed towards the very end of the Medina period, as we'll see later on. So Walid ibn Mughayra kana yurbi fil jahiliyyah, used to give money to usury during the Jahiliyyah. وَقَدْ بَقِيَ لَهُ بَقَايَ عَلَى ثَقِيفٍ, and there were remaining interests that should have been collected from Banu Thaqif. Apparently, it was not only an individual thing. It was not something that we imagine that someone, for example, went to someone else and said, give me some loan, and then they exacted usury. It was a very well-established system, and tribes were actually taking money for construction or things like that. And then one of the people who was very rich, was Walid ibn Mughayra. So there were remainings of some remnants of that riba. فأراد خالد بن الوليد المطالبة بها بعد أن أسلم. So Khalid ibn Walid, after he converted to Islam, he wanted to take that money back. So the verse was revealed. And this is from Shia chains of narration. From the Sunni chain of narration, As-Suddi wa Ikrama mentioned that this verse is revealed في بقية من الربا كانت للعباس وخالد ibn al-Walid. Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet, was a very wealthy man, and apparently one of his main businesses was giving usury, was giving money as loan and taking interest on it. So after, of course, it was proclaimed illegal, well, it has been illegal by human sort of conscience. In every religion, it has been illegal as well. In Jahiliyyah, it was not something good. It was looking, of course, down upon. However, these people were doing that. وَكَانَ شَرِيكَيْنِ فِي الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ, and they were actually partners, giving money. They had a sort of a banking system. They used to give money as riba and taking it back. And they were giving this to one of the sub-tribes of Thaqif. And فجاء الإسلام ولهما أموال عظيمة في الربا. When Islam came, huge amounts of money were left as interest that they wanted to collect, and this verse was revealed. When, of course, the initial verse of riba in Surah Al Imran was revealed, as we mentioned, the Prophet said, قال Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ألا إن كل ربا من ربا الجاهلية موضوع. Every interest which was actually exacted at the time of Jahiliyyah is slashed, I have actually slashed them. وأول ربا أضعه ربا العباس بن عبد المطلب. And I begin with Riba al-Abbas because Abbas was very close to the Prophet. You know, Abbas was only 2 years or 3 years probably difference of age with the Prophet, peace be on him. Since childhood, they were together all the time. So, and was very close. Although he did not convert to Islam, but they were very close, and Abbas always was very supportive to the Prophet, peace be on him. So, when he says the first riba that I actually slashed and I command to be abandoned is riba al-Abbas, meaning that I start from my family, and everyone else should follow. Another hadith from Tafsir of Qummi, which says that when the verse الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا in Surah Al Imran was revealed, قام Khalid ibn Walid, Khalid ibn Walid, who had converted to Islam, the verse which was just previously mentioned, said, Ya Rasulallah, riba abi fi Thaqif. My father, Walid ibn Mughira, had lots of interest, owned lots of interest that Thaqif should have given him. What should I do? He actually made a will that I have to get all of them back. And this verse was revealed that ذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَا. Apparently, even after this, neither Abbas, nor Khalid ibn Walid, nor others wanted to actually abandon the interest. They said, okay, from now on we don't give money as usury or interest. But what about those which has been passed? Because, of course, they were contemplating that we take those money back. This verse 279 was revealed, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَإِن تُبْتُمْ فَلَكُمْ رُؤُوسُ أَمْوَالِكُمْ لَا تَظْلِمُونَ وَلَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And if you do not abandon, then be informed of a war from Allah and His apostle. And if you repent, then you will have your principle, neither harming others nor suffering harm. لَا تَظْلِمُونَ وَلَا تُظْلَمُونَ. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ means فَأْلَمُوا. Know that now you are in war with Allah. This is probably the strongest sort of expression that has ever been used about any sin. As Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayhi also mentions that no sin in the Quran has been emphasized like the usury has been emphasized because of its social implications probably. So, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Be informed of a war from Allah. Some have recited this, فَآذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ means proclaim a war against God. But of course the common reading is فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Be aware that Allah is now proclaiming war on you. Proclaiming war here, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, especially Rasul. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ, of course, you are in war with Allah. Allah knows what to do with you on the Day of Judgment because you are taking usury. وَرَسُولِهِ means that now Rasul is at war with you, it means that he will stop you by force. He will stop you by all sorts of means available to him, military, police, or whatever. It means that it is a responsibility of the authorities in Muslim societies to stop riba if they want to follow the path of Rasulullah. And Rasulullah himself was actually obliged by this verse, was commanded to stop usury even by force, even by imprisoning them or whatever was available. We have this type of حرب من الله ورسوله in other verses. For example, وإن طائفتان من المؤمنين اقتتلوا فأصلحوا بينهما فإن بغت إحداهما على الأخرى. If one party of Muslims oppress another party, فقاتلوا التي تبغي حتى تفيء إلى أمر الله. So fight them. It means it's very interesting. Allah says, fight a group of Muslims who are still regarded as Muslims but are oppressing other group of Muslims. You fight them. Here the same thing, the same harb is here. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. Rasul is actually now responsible to stop you from taking usury by force. Allah Tabatabai says that Harbun min Allah, Rasulullah is very clear. The Prophet has the responsibility to stop usury in society. And of course, after him, the Muslims had the responsibility to do that. This is Harbun min Rasulih. Harbun min Allah, as I said, it means that Allah knows what to do with you on the Day of Judgment. You are in war with him now. Allah Tabatabai says that it may be understood that Allah has actually set a sunnah that if these usury or things like that happen in a society, then the society moves towards degeneration and corruption. And at the end of the day, the poor would somehow rise against the rich and would overthrow them. We will have chaos in society. The society will be corrupted because it is a war of fitra against what is happening, which Allah is forbidding. فَأَذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. And then he says, look at this verse in Surah Al-Isra. وَإِذَا أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلَكَ قَرْيَةً أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَفِيهَا فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا. When we want to destroy a city, a civilization, or whatever, we command the rich to desist. This is how one of the interpretations of this verse. We command the rich to desist from what they are doing, but they do not stop. فَفَسَقُوا. They go out of this command. فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ. Then the word of Allah will become realized on that society. فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا. We destroy it. So the rich are the banks, the rich are Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, the rich are Khalid ibn Walid, the rich are anyone who has the means and money in their hand. They do not desist. The society would go towards degeneration and towards destruction. This is what Allama Tabatabai says about this. And there is a hadith from Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِقَرْيَةٍ حَلَاكًا ظَهَرَ فِيهَا الرِّبَا. When Allah wants to destroy a society, riba would appear in it. And in At-Tahzib, Shaykh Tusi reports another hadith from Imam Ali, لَعَنَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ الرِّبَا. Rasulullah cursed riba, وَآكِلَهُ وَبَايَعَهُ وَمُشْتَرِيهِ وَكَاتِبِهِ وَشَاهِدِهِ. The one who takes riba, the one who accepts riba, the one who finances it, بايعه ومشتري, the one who takes it, آكِلُ, the one who takes the benefit of the riba, and the one who writes it, and those who are witness about it. Now, what should we do in this society? That's the problem. We are living in a society Not this society only, in Muslim societies everywhere in the world, we are actually surrounded by riba. The whole economy of modern world is based on riba. And we try to justify it. Well, this is fair. Of course, in Jahiliyyah as well, when they were giving riba, when they were taking interest, they thought it's fair. You need money, I give you, you give me something back. In response, قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا. It's just like business. It's a business. In a business, I buy a sort of, for example, commodity with cheaper price, I sell it with higher price. What's the difference between that and giving money and taking some interest? This is what ذلك بأنهم قالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا. Bay is like riba. Now, I don't know what the sort of destiny of this modern world will be, but according to these riwayat, we are not expecting a good destiny for modern society. Now, when we are talking about societies, civilizations, we should not think in terms of 10 years or 20 years or 50 years. We are thinking about a process, a long process. Like, for example, when we talk about astronomy and the universe, the unit of measure are light years, isn't it? Now, for society, the unit of measure is hundreds of years. And we have to see how this society is going to proceed. And the responsibility of us Muslims, I think, is to somehow keep ourselves distanced from riba as much as possible. Of course, we cannot distance ourselves from riba. As I said, even if we do not take loan or do not take interest, our monies are in banks. We are using banks every day. So we are somehow mixed, our lives are mixed with this sort of economical system. But as much as we can, it may be impossible. I know that there are some groups of people who keep themselves away from this system. Just near Tehran, there is a city called Taliqan. In one of the villages of Taliqan, a group of people live. They have gone there, and they are actually increasing in number. They do not use banks. They do not buy any product which has been actually based on interest. They use their own crops. They use their own very, very, very simple system. They want to keep themselves away from this modern economy. Well, that is not the cure. That is not everyone can do that, and you may do that as a family or as a group of families. You may be able to do that, but it's not possible. Maybe we have to somehow try to, as I said, we have to look at things from a different perspective and to see what replacement for this economy we can find globally, not of course in one family or in one city, which is not possible. Anyhow, if you do that, لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون, you will not be wronged and you would not wrong. Because you would not wrong because you do not take riba. You would not be wronged because your capital will come back to you. They have to give back to your capital. However, even if they cannot give you back the capital, people may have borrowed money for their expenses, and they thought that, well, they can actually recover after a while and give the money back. Allah says, even with regards to the capital, interest, whatever has, of course, you have agreed in the past, and the time has come, you have to abandon. Interest, you have to abandon. But what about the capital? Capital, لا تظلمون, you will not be wronged. فَلَكُمْ رُؤُوسُ أَمْوَالِكُمْ وَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو أُسْرَةٍ, verse 280. However, with regards to the capital itself, وَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو أُسْرَةٍ فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ وَأَنْ تَصَدَّقُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. And if the debtor is in straits, in hardship, let there be a respite until the time of ease. Usually in usury, what they did when the time came and they had to take the money, the person didn't have anything to pay, they added the interest. Now, here it says that, of course, you have to abandon the previous interest, no interest added, and if they cannot pay, give them some more time. وَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو أُسْرَةٍ فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. And if you remit the debts as charity, just I cannot pay back your loan, okay, this is a sadaqah for you, go. It will be better for you should you know. إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ means if you knew that what expects you in akhirah, or what expects you in your life when you give charity, when you help other people, in the future, in this life, or in the future, in the hereafter, if you knew what is actually held in store for you, you would have known that this is better for you. وَأَن تَصَدَّقُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. Now, about this usra, strait or hardship, what is the limit of it? I mean, I may have borrowed some money and you come to me and say, give me my money back. I say, well, I'm in hardship. What is the limit of hardship? Is it that I don't have anything at all? Or I have something as provision for my family, which if I give that to you, my family would go hungry. What is the limit for it? So, فَرُوِيَ عَنْ أَبِي عَبْدِ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ, from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, قال هو إذا لم يقدر على ما يفضل من قوته وقوت عياله على الاقتصاد. The provision of 1 year of him and his family, of course economically, not lavishly. If he doesn't have anything more than that, you know, in old days, yearly provision was important because when the harvest came, they bought wheat or barley or whatever for the whole year. It wasn't like now that you go to supermarkets. So usually they had the provision of a year. If the provision of the year for the family is economically considered, whatever in addition to that means that he is in yusr. So the limit of usr is that someone doesn't have anything more than the provision of him and his family for a year. And then there is a fiqhi discussion here, jurisprudential discussion. Is this only about dayn or riba, the loan that people have given as usury, or any loan? For example, you have given me a loan not with usury. Okay, I give you this money, pay me back after 1 year. After 1 year comes, I don't have to pay. I don't have money to pay. Is that also included in this verse? Because the verse is talking about riba. If you have given me money and exacted usury and abandoned the usury because of course, the verse, now after a year you come to me and tell me give my money back. Is that only with regards to riba or all duyun? Now, there are two views here. One view says that it is in every loan, which is reported from Imam al-Baqarah and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. And the other view, which is the view of some Sunni fuqaha, they say, is only for the interest-based loan. إِلَا فَنِظَرَةٌ, okay, وَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو أُسْرَةٍ, if the debtor is in a strait, in hardship. فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ, give them time until they become they go out of hardship. They have money to pay you back. So when is this maysara? I mean, when do we say that this person has come out of that hardship and now can pay the debt? Usually a person who doesn't have provision, more than a year provision for their family, it's unexpected that they go into maysara. Here there is a fascinating system in Islam. A fascinating system. We never have thought about this type of economy. Of course, very advanced societies are going towards this, but it needs a complete change of view in terms of economy, society, individuals in society, a complete change of view of sort of money-based economy. And that is if the person cannot pay, the government is responsible to pay the debts of the people who have given loan. Otherwise, of course, if people give loan, they cannot take it back, then the whole society collapses, or they don't give anymore. So, ila maysara, until the time of ease, until hardship goes and the time of ease comes. It was asked from Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, what is this time of maysara until the ease comes? He said, ila an yablugha khabaruhu al-imam, until the news reaches the imam. It means that they take the case to the imam of the society, okay, of the leader of the society. Of course, not the leader individually, particularly. I mean, the system that the imam has created, judiciary and all these things. فَيَقْضِي عَنْهُ مِنْ سَحْمِ الْغَارِمِينَ. Then he has to pay the debt from the share of the debtors, the share of the غارمين, the ones who are in debts. We have this in the Quran, isn't it? إنما الصدقات, the zakat is للفقراء والمساكين والآملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين. Now غارمين, and then في سبيل الله وابن السبيل, 8 sort of categories of expenditure for zakat is mentioned in this surah, in this ayah of the Quran, and 2 of them are very important. One is for riqab, freeing slaves. Usually, of course, we know that Islam wanted to bring these people as captives of war in society and then free them. From a second-class citizen, make them first-class citizen, all these verses actually encouraging freeing a slave. Then there's another way of this freedom, which is called mukataba, which is mentioned in the Quran. وَالَّذِينَ يَبْتَغُونَ الْكِتَابَ مِمَّا مَلَكَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ. Those who want mukataba, means contract. Those who want the contract, they were slaves. The slaves made a contract with their masters that, okay, let me go free. I work and I pay this amount to you from my income. They wrote an agreement, and the man was free, went to way of business to pay back what he had to give to the master. Now, after struggling for a year or 2, for example, the time comes he cannot pay back the debt. He would not go back to slavery. The society should pay what he couldn't pay without taqsir, without, of course, being his shortcoming. I mean, he tried to do business, couldn't do, not just going and wasting time. Then, of course, zakat is for this. One of the expenditure of zakat is for riqab, for these slaves. Another is for gharimin. Gharimin are those that are mentioned here. They took a loan, they cannot give it back. The imam should give back the loan to the one who has given him the money. Do we have such a system now in society? No, of course we don't have. Even in very advanced societies, we don't have it. But as I said, looking from a different perspective into economy gives us new understanding of how we have to deal. And this is وَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو أُسْرَةٍ فَنَذِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. Give them time until the time of ease. And time of ease is either when they have, Allah has given them some, for example, rest, they can give it back, or as Imam says, until the case is taken to the Imam. إِذَا كَانَ أَنْفَقَهُ فِي الْمَعْرُوفِ. If he had spent it correctly. I borrowed £10,000, for example. My children wanted to go to school. I had other expenditure for my family. At the end of the term, I cannot pay it back. Yeah, it's the duty of the imam, when we say imam, the system, to pay my debt. However, if I took 10,000 and went lost in gambling or whatever, I just made a travel around the world, well, this is not the responsibility of the imam to pay the money back. If the debt is used in a correct way, in a reasonable way, then it should go back. إن كنتم تعلمون تعلمون الخير من الشر. If you know what is good, what is bad. But we don't know what is good, what is bad. You think that if I take usury, I have more money, it's good for me. And then in Majmu' al-Bayan, he says that this ayah indicates that you cannot prosecute a person who has taken a loan and has used it correctly and doesn't have the money to pay back. You cannot take them to prison, you cannot prosecute them, and they have to either wait or take the matter to the judiciary, and the society should pay back the debts. And there are many narrations here in this regard. I don't think we have time to cover it now. Inshallah, next week we will go through those narrations. Let's see if we can have a sort of different window towards the way economical relation between people in society should be managed. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد. Thank you, Rajin Sheikh. We've got about half an hour, so please try to give chance to others as well. So cut down your background and come straight to the questions. And please, the floor is open now. Anybody? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, you mentioned Abbas was involved in this kind of business. And more to the point, when Rasulullah asked him to stop, he wasn't that eager to stop. He wanted to carry on. I just want to ask another question. Historically, did that darkness inside him permeate to his children who became such wicked people afterwards? Would that be something that...
I don't know. We know that he did not convert to Islam until a very late stage. Some say on the conquest of Mecca, some say just after Khaybar, before that. We know that Abbas was supportive to the Prophet, was very friendly, but he did not convert. And whatever the case, I mean, the sin of the fathers would not be written for children, certainly. So, but we know the children did lots of wrongs as well.
Yeah, you know, in Zarat al-Shura, we say the children of Marwan, the children of Abu Sufyan, the children of this and that. There's this essence, this idea that this darkness permeates downwards.
Al Marwan and Al Ziyad, they actually took part very actively in Karbala. It was not just the children, the descendants. But of course, one of the children of Abbas was Abdullah ibn Abbas. Abdullah ibn Abbas, we know that he was the most knowledgeable of men, of all men in Islam after Imam Ali alayhi salam. Very pious. And Banu Abbas were children of Abdullah ibn Abbas, not other children of other sons of Abbas. But anyhow, this is something very difficult to judge. Yes, what people do may affect their progeny, their descendants, in terms of happiness, prosperity, things like that. But whether it would affect them in terms of Iman as well, I don't know, because كل نفس بما كسبت رهينة. Every individual is responsible for what they do.
Okay. Thank you. Any sisters? Any brother? Yeah, brother Justin.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Sheikh, I've got a couple of questions, but please bear with me.
So that means the questions are very, very
We're living in a very, very difficult world, and we're in a dilemma. I know the Quran is a book for life, but it's not a book of set of laws. We do not have any other prophet coming on us. We do not have any other imam that are related to the prophet that can pass on to us all the difficulties, answer to the difficulties and the information that we have. Do the Maraja of today's, the like of Ayatollah Sistani, Khamenei, have the power or the knowledge or the know-how to interpret the Quran in a way that we can resolve our problem? For example, the riba that you've discussed and illustrated earlier on. Because we need to find a way, and we are a society, we cannot go on living as if, because we don't know, so we need to put it on the back burner. So we need to have an answer. So that was question number one, do they have the power and so on. Question number two, we are in this world where I do not use usury, but I get usury. I put my money, as you said, in the bank and I get interest. Is there no a direction from the scholar to say, whatever money that you're going to get from the banks or the interest, put it towards sadaqat, so that at least it's being circulated in the right manner? There is a danger in doing that because people will be encouraged to do more, to get more into sadaqat and so on and so forth. So it's a bit more complicated than that. These are my two questions. Thank you.
Well, about the first question, people may know what is the right thing to do, but don't know how to do it. This is what we are now, our situation now. We know that riba is not good. We know that the banking system is based on riba. We know that we have to create a system which should work without riba, but we don't know how. That's the question, isn't it? So I don't think either Ayatollah Khamenei or Ayatollah Sistani can suggest a way. They know this is wrong. They, of course, say it's haram, but can suggest a way to come out of this system. It's a bit difficult. As I said, in Iran, they have tried so hard to take the banking system away from riba, but the ways they have suggested is not much different from riba. As I said, we have to have a new outlook into society, into economy, and also people who know how to bring about circumstances for that system. It needs people with intelligence, with resolve, and with commitment, which we don't have them at the moment. And therefore, we don't have intelligent people. Maybe we don't have intelligent people with commitment in the field of economy, which that's why we are just going into this quagmire, going lower and lower. With regards to the second question, if a money does not belong to you, you cannot give it as sadaqah, isn't it? I mean, if I have taken some money from you and I don't give it back to you, I say I give it to sadaqah. It's not acceptable. But what the fuqaha say is that if you live in a society, non-Muslim society, not Muslims, who give you interest, you can keep that interest. And however, it is not allowed for you to take loan and give interest to them. This is what they say. I don't know what the justification. Apparently, we have some narrations in this respect, and apparently this was the case in old days between, say, for example, Romans and Muslims who were living in different, like Persia, Roman Empire, and other places. This was going on, and this is going on now as well. So this is the case. The money you take from banks as interest, they say is halal for you to take. But it's not halal for you to take a loan and give interest.
Thanks, Shaykh. Shaykh, with regard to your first answer to brother's question, now are the ulamas or the mujtahid willing to sit down with intelligent people and discuss and sort out these matters, as you suggested? That
they are more than willing, of course, yes.
Are they? Okay.
And they are doing it on a daily basis for all their fatwa. I mean, how they are giving this fatwa about, for example, bioethics, about moral and ethical issues with regards to advances in, for example, to genetics, biotechnology, and all these things, certainly they sit with them. And they would love to have someone going and giving them some view. So, but you know, it's not their responsibility. Their responsibility is to say riba is haram. It's other people's responsibility to devise a system which would follow those rulings that they have found from Sharia. They have spent their lives to find out what is haram and what is halal. Now, other people should spend their lives to find the way to implement it. That is, I think, what is important to do.
Okay, thanks. Any sisters? Yeah. Number 3 now. It's on.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Thank you for a beautiful explanation. The question is, if a friend wants to expand the business, and they were asked you for money, and sometimes you feel obliged to give the money, and they said, I know you were going to invest that money into certain projects and it was going to produce certain amount of money, but I know I don't want you to go into loss, but I will agree to give you this amount plus certain extra. So is that allowed or is not? It's a contract which is being agreed by both parties.
You agree to give that money so that they give it back to you with some extra.
Some extra, but they said because you were going to invest that money into something else which was going to produce certain amount of income,
yes.
And they realized that.
Yes.
So
it's allowed provided you are actually involved in the loss as well. You know, this is called muzaraba. Okay, so you give the money, you say, okay, how much are you going to put in terms of money and work? Say 60%. This is 40%. Then we share in the benefit and in the loss. Yeah. You cannot say, I share the benefit, you have the loss only. That will be riba, okay? You say, you give me this money and extra at the end of the term, that is riba. But if you say, no, we share the loss and benefit, that's mudaraba, that's good, that's fine.
Thank you. Any brothers? Yeah? Anybody? No? Yeah. Number 4. Number 4.
Thank you, Shaykh, for wonderful lecture. So, coming back to this sister's question, so someone gave me a loan without interest at all, yeah, to pay back after a year. So after a year, I paid that fellow the capital, but I felt that if I had borrowed it from some bank, I would have had to pay interest. So if I do give something back, is it in order for that fellow to take extra back?
It's mustahab to give extra. It's mustahab. Without any sort of contract of interest, you give me 10,000, at the end of the year, I say, okay, I give you 11,000. It's recommended that I do that. And it's recommended that you not accept it. Now, then you can quarrel with each other. Yeah, but there is no problem.
Dr. Nizar said that's too high the interest.
But there is no harm in taking it, yeah. That's fine.
Thank you. Any sisters? Sisters? No, brother? Yeah?
So, Sheikh, just following on the question earlier on, so the profit share is haram then? If I've got money and invest in a company and get profit shares from them, as the company grows, my shares goes from 50 pence to £2.50 for argument's sake.
Why is haram? No, it's halal. Then if the share actually fall, you lose as well. You are actually involved in both profit and loss. That's fine. But if it's only profit without loss, then that's the problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Any sisters?
Now, the way they are solving this system, this in banking system in Iran, I tell you, I don't know whether this is right or wrong, because there is a fiqhi sort of committee sitting there in the banking system, advising the banks. They say, okay, you put money. They say they pay you interest monthly or yearly, all right? And they say this is mudaraba. We use your money, we invest, and we share the profit. All right. That's why they never give you a definitive amount of interest percentage. They say this is just alal hisab, means that it is what we give you as a preliminary before calculation. Then we calculate, we pay you something more probably. And however, you are never involved in the loss of the bank if the bank makes losses. What this fiqhi sort of committee has come to come up with for solving this, they say that, okay, you take the benefit, you are also involved in the loss, but the government guarantees that they pay your loss. I don't know if this is a solution or not, but as I said, they are struggling to take this interest-based view from the banks, but it is working exactly the same way. That's why some fuqaha like Ayatollah Jawadi and others, they are always saying this banking system is not correct, it's haram. It's the same thing. So some say it's like aklul mita, taking the carcass food, meats. Why? Because we have no other choice. If we do completely slash the banking system, the whole economy collapses. You see, we are actually entangled in a sort of octopus wings, and we cannot get ourselves rid of it.
Thank you. Sisters, before we come to brother, any sisters? No, Nisa?
Just a statement, two statements actually. One is that I think the whole global economy is absolutely connected with the global political environment. So unless we solve the oppression that occurs in the world, it's all linked. I don't see any hope there. My only hope is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His own wisdom might create something. So the greatest recent hope is that in August, a Danish bank started charging negative interest. In other words, if you borrow, what you pay back less than what you borrowed.
It's again because of the inflation rate and because of the sort of strength and weakness of the economy of the society. Otherwise, the system is still the same. So now, sometimes even if you invest in the bank, in that system, if you invest your money in the bank or put your money in the bank, you have to pay interest for them to keep it. Yeah.
Thank you. Any sisters? Sheikh, there are some banks in Europe who take pride that we are Islamic bank and don't charge interest. So however they survived, and have you got any comment on that? Whether they are really...
It's the same system that is working in Iran. The same system. The same idea of muzara'a, things like that. They have somehow changed the name of the contracts. I don't say it is wrong. It's a big, of course, a step they are taking, but they haven't been able to somehow release themselves from this riba-based banking system.
Okay, thank you. Any other brothers, sisters? We've got about another 10 minutes to, if you want.
Apparently, I finished early, huh?
Any? No? Okay. Shaykh Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Thank you very much indeed, Shaykh.